Hey guys, a delayed intro there because we really didn't want to do this show as Liverpool supporters. Welcome to the final whistle. I really missed the international break. What about you, Ben?
Yeah. Tell me about the international break. The last one was actually quite good as well with Ireland and Scotland
Yeah,
playing. Yeah,
you know what the great thing about international breaks are, Ben? You don't lose games.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Apparently we don't like coming back from international breaks and playing with Nottingham Forest at Anfield either. That's
I
2 years
mean,
on the.
yeah. We're gonna go. We're gonna have to go there, and of course, Liverpool lost 3-0 to Nottingham Forest. Game week 12. And I remember Arne Slot last season, Ben, and he had a real bee in his bonnet about losing at home to Nottingham Forest. And I just feel like what has he got his bee? What has really got him flustered this season? Because it seems to be so many losses in the same manner. We look like the same team that's constantly turning up, but for some reason this weekend, Ben, it just felt worse.
Yeah, this took you back like to before Klopp even came. It was kind of like really like Hodgson days bad. Um, yeah, it's just so flat as well. I think that's the most frustrating thing is as Liverpool fans, accept not getting results as long as the effort's there. And I'm not necessarily saying that the effort's not there. And I don't want to go in too hard on the players because of everything that's gone on. But it's just so uninspiring. And at least under Klopp, you had this belief that, when the going gets tough, they would come out throwing. And Liverpool just haven't got the quality or the fight at the minute. And they were outplayed and outfought by a pretty bang average Nottingham Forest side. So, but that's just the story of the last 2 months, isn't it?
It's a Sean Dyche side as well. And I think that's what really gets me more than anything because obviously, like when you just think about it like that as well. And you spoke about quality there, Ben, and it really bothers me because there is quality there. Like, look at the players. Like, I looked at the starting lineup and I was like, I'm quite happy with that. Like Alisson's back, Kanate Van Dijk. You think, yes, okay, a bit unfortunate that Verts is out and, the likes of, and obviously Frimpong out and Bradley out. But hey, Szoboszlai can do a job there. You know what? He actually did pretty well, to be honest. Kirkes, a player that we bought, he's going to be a natural successor to Robertson. The midfield, when you look at it on paper, yes, that's a decent midfield. I think Jones has been working really hard recently when
Yeah.
he's been. So, like, you don't worry about those things. Salah doing Salah things, Isak back from injury, Isak being a really good Premier League player. You look at the likes of Cody Gakpo's and like Ekatike on the bench. You look at it and you think, yes, this could happen, but the problems just seem to be everywhere, Ben. I'm looking at it from a defensive point of view. We go 1-0 down. I just don't have the belief in us. The midfield is just so fragile, so easy to play against and bypass. The attack look like they can't link up with anyone. They just look like a bunch of strangers on the pitch. It is just so bizarre. I want to get your thoughts on just the whole thing as well. But again, naturally, there has been a lot of talk about the manager. And I think rightly so, given the circumstances. However, everyone's got their own camp and I respect it. I think the owners need to give him an ultimatum, and the ultimatum needs to be you need to get Champions League football. You've spent a lot of money, because I think realistically, we know the league is far gone with what Arsenal have done, and the way we've been playing and performing and conceding goals. But that's where I am now. Like, he needs to get Champions League football. Like, that is what I require from him.
Yeah, that's where I've been for weeks on it. I think not we should be with the squad we've got, we should be winning the league. But I think the second it starts to look unlikely that we'll get Champions League football, I think that's when the serious question comes in. The run of games that we've got, and yesterday was included in this run of games of Forest, Sunderland, Leeds, West Ham. If he doesn't get good results in that and we fall behind the likes of Chelsea and, God forbid, Man United as well, he's going to be under serious pressure. And I think one thing that might save him a little bit as well is the manager market at the minute is pretty bang average as well. But yeah, people are right to question him. He got a lot right last season. but he's getting a lot wrong this season. So, yeah, I mean, he's a Liverpool manager. I'll back him. We all will. We'll back him until the day that he does go. But that doesn't mean that you can't question the decisions he's making. I mean, not playing Ekatike when he's been as good as what he has. I know he's kind of dropped off in recent weeks, but that's probably because he's not been playing as much. Taking some balls out.
International break though, Ben. I think he got his first international ball, so like him.
Yeah. And I get the whole thing of, you need to play Isak into form and fitness to get the best out of Isak. You spent a lot of money on him. But, taking Szoboszlai out of midfield, I would have just went with Jones at right back. Or, I get the fears around Gomez, but what's the point in having him if you're that scared to play him to the point where you're never going to use him? You may as well not have him. So, yeah, it's so frustrating. And they've just got the summer window so wrong. I know people were reluctant to kind of admit it at first, but the entire leagues went this complete opposite way to more physical sides, and we've went the complete other way to, spending obscene amounts of money on quality, and the quality is there, but it's not shown at the minute. So it's kind of a double downer.
Yeah, I get that. And you kind of highlighted some of the games that Liverpool got playing next, and obviously it's West Ham away, Leeds away. West Ham away, then it's Sunderland at home, then it's Leeds away, and then I'm not factoring the Champions League games, and then it's Brighton at home. That's all the way to the 13th of December I'm covering there. But ignoring Brighton, you look at those teams, this portion would be, I think, Liverpool's easy era in terms of the fixtures and the teams that they got to play. I mean, Sunderland are a bit of a slippery slope in terms, I know they lost this weekend, but, I know we're at home, and Liverpool are not really giving much confidence, but those games should be they should be easy 3-pointers for Liverpool any other season.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. Any other season, 100%, but in fact, I look at the fixtures we've got coming up, and I think there's every chance they're harder games if we drop points in them, and then we probably do better against Brighton at home, and even Tottenham away with the way they play in a more open game. Not as many long balls, less physical. Sunderland, West Ham and Leeds will all be tricky games. Ellen Road's not an easy place to go to. West Ham are picking up a bit under Nuno, and Sunderland have shown what they can do this season. So, and I kind of mentioned it on Twitter yesterday, this Liverpool side haven't earned the right to kind of take anything for granted or underestimate any opponents, because every single team's given them the run for the money this season. They haven't been clearly better than any team we've faced this season, really.
No, and just going back to the manager as well, of course there are people who are calling for the manager's head, and we've got a few on Anfield Index as well, people who have just pretty much enough. And I was thinking about this, and I think the last time that's probably happened was probably Leicester City and Ranieri, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Pep's absolutely dominated, hasn't he? Yeah, I'm trying to think. Maybe Conte as well. I can't remember how long he stayed at Chelsea after winning the league.
Out as well, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And the thing that doesn't help him is everyone kind of suggested it was Klopp's team that he won the league with, and this is kind of really batting them up a little bit. I'm not in that camp where I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he done last season.
Because I thought he changed things in the second half, Ben. I felt like the second half under Slot last season, he would tighten the screws a little. There would be a change. I felt like, I don't know, there's more control. There was more, an element of calmness, of seeing through games all the way up till we won the league. Of course, we know since we won the league, we were a bit off a cliff, and I think you kind of don't want to see it, but you kind of expect it at the same time. But I would agree with you on that. I wouldn't take his attributes away from what he did last season, even though he didn't really buy the players.
Yeah, but even then, you look at last season, how many times were we getting beat at halftime? Or how many? I mean, in 2025 in general, we've been really poor, to be fair. So there is a lot of questions, and the league title, not papered over cracks, because the league title isn't papered over cracks. It's obviously a huge achievement, but maybe there was worries that we were kind of looking over a little bit because we had the that winter period where we blew teams away. But you look back, Plymouth, I know it was the FA Cup when it was a rotated team, but from there onwards, I think we've been really poor for the most part. But yeah, it's just such a stressful kind of moment for him. And an interesting thing is, I think until obviously this run, I don't think he'd lost 2 games on the bounce as a manager for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah. So now to lose 6 out of your last 7 league games, I mean, it's a full-on crisis just about whether he has it in him and knows how to steer us back on track. I mean, that is one thing the Klopp, you never worried the Klopp couldn't get us back on track because he had that kind of personality. And we don't see what he's like behind closed doors, but I mean, it's going to be such a big test for him. And I think another couple of poor results against the teams we're about to face. And yeah, it's just going to be more percentage of people turning against him, isn't it?
It is. And you made a really interesting point there, Ben, which I kind of just want to highlight as well. I'm not saying they're the same manager, not at all. I mean, they're completely different. But last season, Man City had a really terrible season, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And we spoke about Pep Guardiola and how he's going to deal with that mentally, because he's in a situation that he's not used to as well, like on the losing end, getting beat quite convincingly and quite easily as well. And you mentioned Slot there, that he's not lost 2 back-to-back games in about 3 years. So again, this is going to be not only a test of his character, but also the team's as well, like whether he can keep his composure and keep his control and his cool, keep it at baseline level, and then kind of implement what he wants to the players. And I think that's going to be the interesting part. The downside here is obviously they are completely, let's just be honest, Pep Guardiola is a world-class manager. He will go down as well. And also he's worked with those players a lot longer as well. That's why the likes of him and Klopp, people don't really worry about them because they are essentially their teams. But when a new manager,
it's a worry. And don't get us wrong, I'm not for 1 second suggesting the Slot isn't a good manager, by the way. And it's a big if he was to leave Liverpool, I'm sure he would go elsewhere and do well elsewhere. I think he very much suits European football, to be honest. But I just wonder whether they've got the summer wrong in terms of, well, I don't wonder. I think it's clear to see that they did get the summer wrong. And even the players, Kirkers, who's the best left back in the league last season. I mean, yeah, I don't want to single out players, but it's not looking good.
It's not. And do you think as well, last season, what really worked for Slot and Liverpool was the fact that you knew the starting 11 if there were any injuries?
Yeah.
And this season, I feel like it's a bit Russian roulette when it comes to the starting lineup. You spoke about the transfer window there and the summer that we had, and obviously in hindsight it's a wonderful thing because I was absolutely buzzing at the players that we were getting on paper quality, and maybe too much newness has been injected into a team, and maybe it's in a slow phase of maybe buying 2 players or 1 player and then like just easing and phasing things in.
Yeah,
I mean, like looking back now, I'm quick on that high horse to say that.
Yeah, it was a balancing act. You look at Arsenal, who didn't really sell anyone but strengthened so much. Their squad depth is now 10 times better than anyone else's. Obviously, we took the approach of kind of selling to buy, as we always do. I know people throw around the 450 million thing, but we sold about 280 million worth of players as well. So it was very much one in, one out. So that depth isn't there. And yeah, it's such a tricky situation. I mean, don't get us wrong, they've obviously signed for the next 5 years. That is the big plan here. People kind of need to remember that this summer wasn't just about this season. But for the money they've spent, that hasn't helped Slot at all, and the pressure's on the players as well. I mean, we all were over the moon when Isak came, but the way he handled himself over the summer, and we get it because he'd done it to force move to Liverpool, but in hindsight, it hasn't done himself any favours at all. And when you cost 125 million, there's only so much patience or kind of sympathy you can have for someone.
Yeah, and also with the media being on your back as well, because we saw that with Verts before the international break as well. I feel like there's just a natural target on big money signings. I mean, what do you make of the big money signings this season? Obviously, we had Isak, United had Sesko. I'm just talking about the big ones. I'm not talking about Ekatika here, but the ones that took the headlines. And Gyökeres for Arsenal, and I think none of them have really hit the ground running as well. And I think it's just judge them all on an even keel.
Yeah, I saw there was a podcast I was listening to the other day. They were talking about signings of the season, and normally every summer you have kind of a standout. And yeah, like you're looking at Zubamendi at Arsenal, like Xhaka at Sunderland maybe. Like they didn't cost like Zubamendi didn't cost an awful lot. I think it was about 50 million, and obviously Xhaka Sunderland was like 15 million. Yeah, none of the big money signings have kind of really impressed yet. Off the top of my head, anyway, I'm sure someone will correct me. And obviously,
because I'm the one that asked the question. But yeah, it just feels like that because we're in isolation of game week 12, and everything's falling apart. Ben, speaking of game week 12, so at 12:30 we saw our Chelsea quite beat Burnley. It looked quite tough to begin with, but they looked quite in control, and then Enzo Fernandez makes it 2-0 for them. Then of course there was a whole load of 3:00 kickoffs, and we, our weekends got ruined quite early. Let's just be honest. And then, I mean, I think it's Arsenal's league to lose because Man City just fell apart as well to Newcastle. They 1-0 down, they pull it back, and then they just concede within minutes, and you're like, oh my god, like that is not Man City of the old.
Yeah, I've said it for a while. Arsenal's going to walk away with the league this season. Like I've said so many times, their floor is higher than anyone's ceiling, no matter how bad they played. They're so well drilled, and I know people kind of have this sort of attitude towards Arsenal, kind of like a sarcastic kind of attitude, but they're such a good team. I mean, in the past it's been set pieces, but you look at the way they play against Tottenham, absolutely outstanding. I mean, Man City, they're nowhere near what they can be. I think we made them look so good against us, to be honest. Yeah, I think Arsenal kind of end up walking away with it in the end, and they'll probably get to around March and they start turning their attention to the Champions League. And you know what it is, that they're good enough to go far in that as well. That's the scary thing. But yeah, I think it's definitely Arsenal's league to lose. And they don't show any signs of kind of stopping them. Whereas Man City, I just don't think the consistency is there. And if Haaland has an off day, I think they're a bit over-reliant on him.
They are. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you because I think you should be honest. I really don't want Arsenal to win the league. I'm like, I'd take, but I mean, like, we're at it. I was like, I'd rather have Man City. At this point, I'd rather have Chelsea as well. I just find their fan base really quite unbearable in general. I mean, that's how bad it is that I'd rather have Chelsea because people are just like, oh, yeah, loads of money, loads of players, yeah, and they just shrug it off, even though it's been many years since Chelsea's won a league. But that's how much of an aversion I have to Arsenal winning the league. I have let's just say plastic clubs over a real football club like Arsenal, which it sounds really hypocritical because we talk about being football purists, but here that's where I am, Ben. I just can't stand Mikel Arteta.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. If Man City or Chelsea win the league, within a week, you can kind of forget about it. Whereas if Arsenal win the league, I'll be turning my phone off for a week. I try to think what will happen, but you know what it is, they're by far the best team in the league. Yeah. Whether it's through gritted teeth or, you've got to give them the credit they deserve. And I mean, Eze, what a moment for him to score a hat-trick against Tottenham.
The team that can buy him.
Yeah. I could be wrong. He got released by Arsenal's academy, I'm pretty sure. And it's Arsenal fan, bought back for 60 million, score a hat-trick against Tottenham. I mean, wow. And he's one of the ones, he seems like a really kind of top bloke as well. So, there's a few of them. There's a few good eggs in that Arsenal team. I think he's one of them.
I agree.
Yeah. Such a good team. Yeah. Just a good team. They're so well drilled. You struggle to find one thing that they're bad at. I think creativity would be the one thing, but I think the more you see in Eze and Odegaard still come back from injury, I think they're going to absolutely walk the league.
Yeah, Eze really impressed me against Spurs, where he was just kind of hiding space and getting the shot on and always, hitting it clean as well. And And if they're not creating, then at least they've got that in their, in their armor, like the fact that they've got that kind of player that can do that. So, yeah, he certainly answers a lot of their, out and out goal scorer kind of thing. Creativity and goals will come from other places. I mean, they've got Trossard, who's not a stereotypical forward.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even have a centre forward at the minute. They're playing without one. It's crazy. And I mean, we've got a £125 million striker up front, and I think he touched the ball about 15 times yesterday. But
awful, absolutely awful. Ben, yeah, that was game week 12. Man United play Everton tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to make of that one. But yeah, that's your Monday night game. I'm just thinking with regards to Liverpool. Where are you with the transfer window? Because there's a lot of talk. I thought let's just go that there's a lot of talk of Semenyo and all that kind of good stuff. Or do you feel like, hold, I think we're a bit sick at the moment? I mean, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a midfielder. I don't know.
No, I completely agree with that. A defensive midfielder has got to be top of the list. And then after that, it's probably a centre-back. But there's also, just because we need them doesn't mean we don't need Semenyo. So it's very much kind of, if the opportunity's there, I think they could do it if the opportunity's there. He plays on both sides. Salah needs some competition. It baffles me that we're at the point now where he's the age that he is and he hasn't really got a direct kind of competition. I think we needed a left wing in the summer when Diaz left, because obviously the plan is for Wirtz to be the 10. They gave the whole reason of having a path to the first team for Engamora. I think he's played 29 Premier League minutes, maybe a bit more because he came on for a bit yesterday. So yeah, I think for 60 million, I think it's a good opportunity. But yeah, I think there's other positions that we need to strengthen first. And I mean, how good was Elliot Anderson yesterday? I mean, talking about like a defensive midfielder or midfielder that we should be going for, he was everywhere. He made our midfield look like they were playing in Crocs.
God. And there's been a lot of talk about him in the transfer window, and Wharton as well from Crystal Palace. I think a lot of Premier League teams are looking at them. So yeah. Watch this space. Ben, I don't think I want to talk about football much anymore. What about you? I think we put our viewers and listeners through enough. I mean, is there any takeaways or anything you kind of want to put out there? I know the refereeing has been inconsistent. It was kind of inconsistent again against Arsenal v Spurs, but we're just going to draw the line at that. That doesn't take away from the fact that Liverpool were really bad and it's been a bad, game week for Liverpool in general. But anything for you to add there?
No, not really. Champions League action in midweek, isn't it? PSV at Anfield. So no doubt we'll probably turn up and be really good there, and then rubbish again at the weekend. But yeah, just not enjoying football at the minute, really. This fun's so much more fun to do this show when we're doing well, but we'll be here, win or lose.
Exactly. We always show up. Same cannot be said about the Reds and the players. And before I let you go, you're always busy. You have so much going on. Where can people find you on social media, and what work can we expect from you?
Ben Pescott Journal on Twitter. All my works on there, whether it's for Anfield Index, EPL Index, or the Substack. It was always Liverpool. If you haven't checked that out, there's some brilliant stuff on there. But yeah, all my work's on there. So yeah, keep an eye out on that.
Do follow Ben. Do check out It Was Always Liverpool. It's a wonderful website. Great writers, great content, great thoughts. Very original, very fresh as well, I think. I love reading the freshness of everyone's viewpoints. So yeah, do check that out. Loads of content on Anfield Index as well. I'll be back for the Champions League Euro incision, and then we'll be back again doing the final whistle. So you're going to catch two personalities of me, hopefully being very happy. I'm really miserable in the Premier League, but it is what it is. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. We'll catch you next weekend.